Hey everybody, welcome to News by Muse. We are back for another great interview about this documentary that is a definitely must-see documentary. It's called Rookie Season. We're with Adrian Bonvento is the director. Tell me, what was it about telling the story about racing, especially the way you do it? Because you do it in a way that many documentaries don't do. They always show it from the outside, but you really delve into the insides of racing.
Yeah, so that actually, probably harks back to my complete passion for motorsport as a fan from an early age as a child. And the way I viewed the sport, I always wanted to convey, and I wasn't always the biggest fan of, everybody gets a trophy and everybody wins, and the focus on the podium and the champagne and the hot girls and the confetti and all that. Because, you know, I played sports from an early age, and I know what it takes to really. It's not easy to win, right? So I wanted to show and convey some of the things that I really loved about the sport and some of the lesser known stories. And again, like you said, in a way that was very intimate to that team. So I approached. I knew Robin Liddell for a number of years, and he introduced me to Frank DePew. And long story short, they liked my past work and agreed to give me complete access to the team, which was really a prerequisite for me to do the film. Because I knew that if they didn't let me into those, the briefing rooms and the meetings behind closed doors where it's not going well, that the film also wouldn't do well, or at least wouldn't be truthful, which is really what I wanted. I wanted a motorsport documentary that was raw and real and true.
And you went in with Rebel Rock Racing to really tell their story. What was it like working with them? Because I could understand that because you got a lot of race footage, and usually when they're in a race, cameras are not the one thing they really want around them.
Yeah, no, 100%. So that was again another thing I talked to him about. I wanted my own cameras in the car every race, not the broadcast cameras, because the quality is a little bit lower there and they don't shoot the way I like to shoot. So I had about, I think, 4 cameras in the car for every race to get all these different angles. Had them hooked up to the power of the car to make sure they didn't shut off. Separate audio recorder because I really wanted that. I mean, that Camaro sounds so good.
Yeah.
But the guys were pretty cool. At the end of the day, motorsports people, fans, and the people who work for the teams, they're really down to earth, and there's not a lot of egos there. So at first, it was about building those relationships because I didn't know any of the guys other than Robin. So sort of showing them, little by little, that I wasn't there to create any drama unnecessarily, and I was really there to create a meaningful and powerful film, and that I was on their side. And after a couple races, you become part of the team, and they do whatever they can to help support. I mean, at the same time, obviously they are there to race first, and that was one of the challenges of the documentary and challenges of filming motorsport in general. Because as a filmmaker, I always want to push a little bit more to get that shot, to maybe put that camera in that position that's really going to get a cool shot, but it might, you don't want to ever cross that line to endanger the driver, especially when they're racing, or do anything that would cause the team to, result in a loss or disqualification. So it was definitely a line to toe. In addition to the fact that during pit stops, when you're there in the pits, in the box, real small, real tight, there's hoses that you can get your leg wrapped up around. There's tires flying around. There's a lot of things going on that, if you bump into a guy and knock him over, they lose time on the pit stop. So it's all this stuff that you don't want to be the story, obviously.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I never was, and I was always very careful to know that they were there to race first, and I was there to film second.
Yeah. Were you able to have time, like especially when you're shooting the pits, like before any race, to simulate a pit stop to be able to like precisionally know where to place the cameras, where to do, how they're working? So during when you're shooting the race shots, you're like, okay, here's where we're at. This is what we need to do. We're not involved at all, and they're able to get in and get out.
Yeah. So definitely. I mean, first of all, I think that being a race fan and having been in a lot of races, it gives me a base level of knowledge to know, okay, what to expect, what's coming, what exactly are they doing during these pit stops. That being said, different racing series with different types of cars and different regulations around how pit stops are handled. every team, not every team, but most teams are going to do their pit stops slightly differently. So yeah, during a weekend, there's practice sessions that lead up to the race. And during those practice sessions, they practice their pit stops. So yeah, there was definitely an element of, okay, who's doing what, and how long does this take to do? When do these guys switch? What would look cool for framing in the camera? What space do I have to work with? Maybe I can't actually get into the position I want to get into because there's something else going on next door. But once I got that down for the majority of the season, other than the fact that some tracks, the car is actually flipped, right? Pulls in left versus pulls in right. And that changes things a bit. I kind of knew who was going where and when. So that was in the back of my mind, but then I'm also sort of just kind of reacting to what's going on and in a little, almost Saving Private Ryan style filmmaking where you're really just like kind of following everything that's going on. But yeah, so to answer your question, it was a little bit of foreknowledge combined with just kind of keeping one eye on the viewfinder, but one eye, looking around to see what else is happening outside the frame.
Yeah, exactly. And to get aside from all the technical aspects of the film, because the film really does have a lot of technical aspects that are very interesting, especially when it comes to racing, it's the fact that the story that you told is very much showing the humanity of what a racer goes through, and not only the mental challenge and the mindset you have to have going into the race and what you experience, but also what the driver experiences and the whole team. But it just kind of just brings a lot of humanity to it. How important was that to you to show that humanity and to show the humanity of the racer?
That was the most important. That was the core building block for the entire film. I mean, I started the film with a single question, which is, what is it to race? And it seems like a simple question on its surface, but when you really continue to ask yourself why, come up with an answer, why, come up with an answer, why, I wanted to explore that, like you said, and really get to the heart of why these people do what they do, how it really feels, what drives them to do it. And like I said, why do they do it when you could do anything else? You could do something else. Why do this? It's not the easiest life. It's you don't always win. It's you lose or you come up second more than you win. It's on the road, long hours, long days, many times, many months of the year. And I wanted to get at that inner human element and genuinely discover the answers to those questions. That being said, it really helped that I had people who were open and willing to talk about it and actually good at talking, as strange as that sounds, because not every race car driver I've interviewed is willing to open up and be vulnerable. And not every race car driver has that perspective to be able to actually approach it, or even the awareness that they're racing for a reason that they might not even actually understand that they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, the film, like I told you before we went on, this is amazing. I truly loved it, and it's going to be at the Mammoth Film Festival this actually today at 4 o'clock is when
Yes.
it's screening. Is it going to have a second screening on at the film festival, or is it just today?
I think Mammoth is just doing the one, but we are doing our big theatrical launch is February 25th onwards. And then we're doing a 1 week of one theater right across from Daytona International Speedway, actually, where the documentary starts. February 11th to 17th, we're doing an exclusive week-long preview. So I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be, honestly, I need to find the closest theater to me in New York and see it. Because I think those in-car sequences especially are going to be really, really captivating with the sound and the visuals on the big screen.
Yeah, definitely, because this is a film that you have to watch in theaters because you get that feel, to get that hum, like if you're at the racetrack going through your body while you're watching it, to really feel that excitement, feel like you're inside the film and inside the car. Um, what's next after this, by chance? Are you working on anything else to keep sticking into the motorsports realm, or?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of client work that I do that's continually keeping me busy, doing a lot of work for a lot of manufacturers and private clients and teams. In terms of the documentary world, I have some ideas for future films. I'm talking to a few people about some more motorsport things, but I'm also considering expanding to, action sports as a whole. And what I've found throughout this process over the past several years of making this film and getting it out there is that I really enjoy working on subjects that I personally have a connection with, either have done or really care about. And I think that, mixed martial arts is another one that might be next for me, broadening the scope into really exciting sports kind of documentaries. And I have a few connects there that I'm thinking about. And maybe even other types of racing. There's so many different types of racing all over the world. I mean, rally racing, there's bikes, there's Formula One, there's sports cars, you name it, they have it. Land speed racing, the Salt Flats in Bonneville, I'd love to do a doc there. But nothing confirmed on the horizon. I'm really just taking my time to continue the promotion of this film. And I believe so firmly in it that I really just would love as many people to experience it and enjoy it as possible. And that's still going to keep me busy for several more months. And then we'll see where we go from there.
Awesome. Well, Adrian, you did an amazing job on this film.
Thank you.
Rookie Season is going to come out releases on February 25th. It's on demand the film festival today. So if you want to see it, we're going to put links in the bottom so that you could be able to get your tickets, go to a movie theater, go watch it, because this is a theater movie. This isn't a watch at home type of movie. You got to be in the theater to watch it and really experience it, especially with that great audio. So Adrian, thank you so much for talking with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
I'll see you next time here on Muse TV.